Alrighty, this is going to be the next part of what the hell did I call it? The John Deere side dump bucket. I've got the cylinder pretty much all done, rebuilt. Now I'm addressing the floor problems here. As you can see, you've got some pretty big, pretty big holes here. This thing is pretty well shot. It's again from the rust. So what I did was I had a local fabricator, bend up some. Well, I say rolled, but they did it in a press brake, so it's more kicked, Yeah, just like I said, I had a local fabricator just make these up for me. This is about 6 foot in between here and the corner, so. So they did it in 2 3-foot pieces, which is fine. I don't care. It's probably even easier to mess around with 2 3s than one big 6. Because when you get it, it always needs some adjustment. But this is pretty good. I've just got it started now. I just put one tack in the corner, and you can see I've got this kind of wedged here. Going to have to go along, and it's a little too much gap. In here, so I'll just go along and move this along, move this wedge thing along, and just knock it in that way. And then of course I'm going to put a plate across the side, and then of course I'll patch all of this in as well, because that's got it's just as bad. You can see down here. And of course I'll do the same thing now. I don't know, with all the amount of rust, I don't know if MIG is going to fly. I may have to switch over to stick for this. I'm not sure. That should come down pretty easy with a clamp. I guess that's about it on that. So essentially, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to move along and just weld these in. These rolled or kicked patches in. These are not AR. They didn't want to go for AR. They didn't want to go for the expensive AR. And I guess I kind of half agreed with them, because again, I don't know what the life expectancy of this bucket's going to be. This thing is in really, really sad shape. If you hit this thing anywhere with a hammer, these flakes just, it's pretty bad. It's just really, it's just got so much, the rot is just crazy on this thing from all the salt. So anyway, yeah, like I said, I kind of understand. To redo this thing wouldn't make any sense. It's not really that old. They say it's from about 1990. So in the life of heavy equipment, I don't know if I'd consider that old. I don't know. I work on much heavier stuff, much older stuff than that. But whatever. So anyway, yeah, I'm just going to go along, start getting this nailed in here as we go, and like I say, I don't know about down here where it's really, really rusty bad. I may have to switch over to stick, and if it is no problem. So anyway, yeah, let me just kind of get this nailed in, and I'll bring you back periodically, let you see what I'm doing here. All right, so I've got this first piece pretty well nailed in here. I know it's starting to get dark, but anyway, yeah, I only had to move the wedge and the block a couple of times. As you can see, it's pretty well, that's about as tight as we're going to get. And then when you come down here, let's see, let me get out of the light. You can see same thing. I just same thing, a block, a piece of channel iron, and then in this case I'm actually using a wood splitting wedge, because it works. And I couldn't use such a big wedge up there because of the radius. I had to use the smaller wedge and then just put a block behind it. But down here, like I say, this is straight on, so this is great. This is often how I do patching, like of holes and things like that. I don't know if you don't know that trick. It's very, very handy to have, because it's amazing the amount of force you're able to exert, with just that slight taper. So you can see this thing is, my goodness, I'm way over here, and I'm doing, the rest of this, this whole thing is pretty well socked down here. Let me see, how much can I really come in here? Yeah, it's like I say, it's darn good, and you don't have to get carried away with it. So yeah, so that'll take care of that. I'm gonna just kind of get that tacked in there. And then I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to move on and, you know, again, since that's welded in, you know, since that's all tacked in, I'm going to probably move on and get the other one set in. And then I'll worry about putting, you know, putting the sides and fitting all of this in. Because obviously, as you can see, it's starting to get dark here. So that'll be for tomorrow. But I'm going to keep going and, you know, get some more of this, you know, as much as I can. Again, to get this thing in the shop, no go. It's not going to happen. So I'm right up to the back door, you know, and the lights are kind of, you know, helping a little bit. So, because I mean, this thing is, oh, geez, what is this, about 10 or more feet wide, and it's just, you know, with trying to get past all of this, it's just not going to come in. So, so anyway, so that's it. And again, I'll bring you back as I get along. All right, it's the next day. Obviously, as you can see, it's light out again. I forgot exactly where I left off. I think I was putting this this second piece in, which I did. Just kind of, you know, got that, you know, put in there. And again, I did the same thing with the, you know, since this one was fixed and this one was loose, same thing, put it in, started in one corner, worked my way around. And again, I was a little concerned with, you know, getting the seam to match, because again, these things are never, excuse me, they're never perfect. So again, since this was the fixed one, you know, I just wedged off of it, you know, attached my block to here and wedged off of it. But, you know, as you can see, went around, got it pretty well nailed in, and now I'm just starting to make the fill-in pieces, essentially. The whole floor, I don't know if I mentioned it or not. Let's see, can you see? I wound up, let me zoom in here. See, the whole floor, it's just, it's completely, it's like tissue paper. So it's got to be pretty much done, covered over. Again, that may accelerate the destruction, because, you know, now they're going to keep doing the same thing with it, and the moisture and the salt is going to, you know, migrate its way under there. But whatever, this is what they want. So so again, give the people what they want. So like I said, I figured I would just piece the whole thing in. I have enough material, as you can see. I got a whole sheet that I'm working on out there on the blades. So anyway, just making the fill-in pieces. Even this down in here was all shot. This is just dropped. Everything's just kind of dropped in there. So I made a piece here, you know, just to, you know, just to even up with that, you know, weld that along here. Well, you know, again, I'll get everything in and tacked. This is, I guess, about the trickiest piece here, the one you see here. In fact, I got this in there pretty well. I'm just gonna, this, yeah, this was completely gone. I touched this thing, there was a tiny little hole in it, and it was just completely gone. So this is all gonna have to be refitted. And the tricky part here is you've got the bolt hole for the edge here. So again, I had to kind of, you know, obviously I had to remove all of this and just, you know, I'm going to work with it as best I can. And this was flat. This was a flat here. I don't know if I showed it in the beginning, but this was a small flat. It's going to be a little bit bigger flat because I had to get to some material that I can actually use. So I think I'm just going to, I'm pretty satisfied with this thing overall. I'm just going to take it back out once more, and I'm just going to trim back here a little bit, trim this back, just so that I have a little more room to weld this to the actual, you know, because I want the thing contacting, you know, here and there, just to, you know, it'll seat itself. Believe me, I've done this with bodies and buckets. It seats itself. It's just that I'd like a little bit of contact. That's why I cleaned this up down here. You know, I'm going to put a little weld, you know, here and there. This here, this is no big deal. This will easily, as you can see, just with my foot, it'll squeeze in, so that's no problem. And since that's all new metal to new metal in there, it'll be no problem to catch that with the MIG. That's easily done with MIG. even up here, I think, and more I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty satisfied that I'll be able to do most of this with MIG. I mean, I'm tacking up with MIG, and it's not going bad at all. There's very little boiling or anything, so I'm pretty satisfied. I think it'll be all right. So anyway, that's where we're at. It's just essentially, like I say, piecing it in now. So again, I'll keep bringing you back, you know, and you know, you can kind of follow along with me here, and that's it. All right, let's see. I'm back. I always forget where I left off. I think I was working on getting this piece here fitted in. So I got that cut out and fitted in. I wanted to leave a little room here because again, a piece is going to have to fit in here on an angle, because again, I got that bolt hole to be concerned with. So I left a little bit of room here to be able to fit everything, and then it can be welded together after that piece is fitted in. There's no reason you can't just float everything in at once. But this is, you know, this is quite solid now. That's fitted. It'll be a little problematic in here, but no big deal. I'll be able to get that taken care of. The rest is good. Let's see, this piece here is also fitted and tacked in, so that's all set. So we got this one. This is 2 pieces of floor there. So now, just thinking, now I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna make, because there's still 2 more pieces. I still gotta make the piece that'll fit in here, and then I do have to make the piece that's gonna fit in here. So I guess I'll make those pieces next. Yeah, I'll make those and fit those in, get the whole thing tacked up, fitted and tacked, and then the welding can begin. Which I think that's the best way to handle this, rather than, yeah, that's definitely going to be it. Okay, so I'll be back. Okay, so I've fitted in another piece. This will be the next to last piece. That's in there. So I've got that in and pretty well fitted up and tacked. And now I guess the last one will be this one. I'll have to, you know, I think I'll make a cardboard template for this one. That'll probably be easiest, and I'll go from there. We're under the lights again. Obviously, you can see it's now darkness has descended upon us once again. So yeah, let me get that last piece fitted in there, and we'll take it from there. I'll bring you back. Well, what do you think? The only problem is, gee, I don't know. I went to tack it in, and I don't know, for some reason it doesn't weld very well. I don't. Oh, I think I know what it is. Whoops. Geez, you know, get caught up in this stuff, and doofus. That's only a template. I'm gonna have to make it out of steel. What a damn idiot. That's why I'll never amount to much. Just a greasy welder from Jersey. Anyway, yeah, so that's what I'm doing, is I'm fitting this in. I made the template, and that's kind of the way I want it to fit. I don't want it to really be too much bigger than that. I want to have room. Let me zoom in here a little. Yeah, see, that's why I purposely left this back a little bit, and I'm going to leave the other piece back a little bit, so that I can get a lot of you know, a fair amount of weld in here. And also there, yeah, you can see there, you can see this thing is tilted this way, and you know, and that way, so that everything tends to, you know, well, because we need clearance for this bolt. Obviously there wasn't much there to begin with, but enough, because it's just the head of the nut that has to, you know, the bolt comes through in the nut. So that'll be fine. It's set back, actually I've set it back a little bit further than it would have been from the factory. And again, everything's got angles and tilts. Also, when you're doing buckets and stuff, you want all your lips and bumps to be in, not out, because you don't want the material, whatever it is, to get hung up in there. You know, you can't always figure that people are loading, you know, coarse gravel and stone and stuff. Sometimes it is, you know, snow and muck and things of that nature. So lips always in, or, you know, or lips facing, you know, lips, you got to go over the lip to come in the bucket, not the other way around. I mean, obviously something like this, there's nothing you can do about it, but it'll be a smooth seam. And in all honesty, rarely is material really going to be up in that high anyway. And I had to go that high just to get into some decent material, again, due to the amount of salt exposure this thing had. So yeah, so always try to set your lips and your angles so that they're facing out. In other words, so that the material must cross the angle, go against the angle to enter the bucket. And that's just a little rule of thumb that I always try to adhere to. And again, it just keeps the material from accumulating in the bucket. So anyway, I'm gonna get on with you know, with cutting that out of steel, and then I'll set that up and I'll get that tacked in and I'll bring you back again. Okay, I actually made the piece out of steel now, and I popped it in there and I tack welded it. So that's all of them. That's all the pieces now. So now I guess, since everything's in there and tacked in place, and I got it on got the angle pretty well, you know, there's plenty of room to accommodate the you know, the nut, the bolt to come through for the cutting edge, and the nut. That's another thing, this cutting edge is all cracked and, you know, and damaged in here, you know. So and actually I've noticed something else too, where this bolt is coming through. Let me zoom in. You can see there was a weld repair, obviously not in the bolt-on edge, but in the actual, you know, the cutting edge, you know, the weld on the lip of the bucket, and there's obviously been a repair here, and I can actually see it's cracked again right along. So and this is pretty thick material. It's going to be like 3/4 at least. So again, it's probably just that somebody just welded it, you know, right over the top kind of thing. So that's going to have to, in my opinion, that should be fixed at least. At least I think I'm just going to fix it. I'm going to probably I'll remove this bolt. They're obviously going to have to put a new cutting edge on, bolt-on edge anyway. So I'll remove this bolt, and geez, this is about, I don't know, 16 inches long or so from end to end there. I think I'm going to air arc that all out and repair that. So, because like I said, whatever they did there just cracked. So since it's here, you know, and again, it just looks like it's kind of just gooped up. I don't think much got in it, probably just on it. So, so I guess I'm just going to fix that. So anyway, I guess now that everything's in place, it's going to be on to the welding, the actual welding of this. I'm going to clean up. It's dark out. I'm going to clean up outside there. I still got the forklift way out there with the plate and all that. I burned all of this. I didn't really plasma it. So so I'm going to clean that all up, and then I guess I'll get this thing ready, and I guess I'll begin to start squirting, and assuming, like I say, I think that'll be fine. It'll certainly be fine for, you know, for where you got plate, you know, new plate to new plate. And this seems to be I mean, it's all tacked up. I tacked it with MIG, so it seems to be all right. I think I'll be okay with it, and it certainly would speed things up a little bit. So hopefully that'll be all right. Maybe I'll use the larger MIG. I'll use the Hobart here, the 450, and I'll use it with the that feeder, because that feeder has 045 wire on it. So maybe I'll hook that up and get that, well, it's hooked up. I mean, maybe I'll use that to actually do the welding. That would, like I said, that would certainly speed things up a bit. All right, so let me see how that goes. Let me get cleaned up, and because I don't need any of this stuff anymore. Just like I said, it's going to be just welding now. So let me get that going, and I'll bring you back. All right, well, that's it. I've done all the welding. Zoom in a little bit here. Came across, you know, pretty much anywhere there's a seam, you know, it pretty much gets welded. You know, anywhere there's an edge, you know, especially the leading edge, you want to, you know, you want a good weld, you know, you want a pretty good weld on the leading edge there, you know, because again, the material is gonna, you know, is going to cross, you know, here, so that's going to really, you know, that's going to really take a, you know, fair amount of wear. So, you know, I put a pretty good you know, pretty good amount of weld on there. Kind of, you know, you kind of hesitate as you weld it through. This corner, I'm pretty happy with. I just, let's see, I just, you know, again, filled, it's rock solid. Filled it in, and then because this is where the, you know, the dump part is, so I just blended it to try to make it smooth. That's about it, because you have material, you know, naturally crossing in and out here, you know, so that's about it. Yeah, that's pretty much all the welding. Anywhere there's a seam, you know, where two pieces are joined, I'm sure it's not necessary. The material would do it, but again, I know they're going to be doing a lot of snow. You know, this will probably go right into snow duty and salt. I mean, if it's going in for gravel or whatever, you know, normal rock and dirt and sand use, I probably wouldn't be all that concerned with it. But you know, again, since there's seams, you know, even up in here, you know, again, I just take it and I just hit it with the grinder just to, you know, just to blend it, you know, to make it, you know, kind of smooth and flat. That's about it. But as you can see, that's pretty much it. Even over on the other side here, everything's, you know, it's all welded continuously. If you don't, you know, if you try to skip around, if you skip weld it or whatever, it's probably gonna peel up on you. So so that's why I you know, any type of bucket thing, you know, I do weld it continuously. All right, so let's see. I guess that's about it on the welding. Supposed to have a couple of rain days here. I don't know. And again, this simply won't come into the shop. Unfortunately, it just won't make it. I mean, it's not that the door isn't wide enough, but with having all this equipment in the way here, it just won't come in. So about the only thing I have to do now really is put the cylinder, remount the cylinder. Just trying to think if there's anything else I got to do. No, I don't think so. So that's it. The patching's done. That's it. I'm going to remount the cylinder. And then that'll be it. That's going to be outside. Again, I'm going to need the forklift and a strap to get that thing in. I did make new pins for the cylinder. Again, I'll try to show you all of that as I put it together. But yeah, that's about it for now. So see you next time. I guess tomorrow. We'll see what we can do with the weather. As long as it's not raining, we'll get this thing together. And geez, that shouldn't take but maybe another hour or so to get that all squared away. And then this will be done, and I can give it back. And I'm sure they'll be happy, because who knows when it's going to start snowing. All right, so that's it for now. And yeah, we'll see you again later. All right, it's let's see, it's the next day now. Everything is done here with the welding. All the patching is in, or the new half floor, whatever you want, relined half floor, whatever you want to call it. And now we're back on to getting this squared away to put the cylinder in. I had to clean up all these holes naturally. They're pretty well, there's a lot of rust growth and stuff in there, but I was able to get them clean. There's actually some wear in there, certainly more, after you got the rust out, there's more wear in there than you'd like, but hey, it's gonna be great, as they say. Same thing over here. Everything's cleaned up. These are the new pins I made, and they go pretty well. pretty easily, I should say. Well, very easily, because like I say, as it turns out, there is some wear in there, but it's going to be fine. What I wound up doing on these was these pins are a little longer than the original pin was exactly 6 inches, total length. What I did was I made these about 3/8 or more, almost half an inch longer, but these are about 6.5. And I put that extra dimension in here between the keeper hole and the top of the pin. In other words, this thing is going to sit, above this. And I put a, you can even see I drilled a center in there just so it'll be there, so that, if it has to be drilled for, in case this thing ever has to be extracted, and the same thing occurs as happened, over the course of time, that nobody, they think they're greasing it, but the grease is just pouring out the side. In other words, the salt's getting in there, it's corroding, it's going bad. This might give you, it gives you a little more to work with. So what the hell, I had to make the new pins anyway. What's the big deal to add, 3/8 or half an inch? And like I said, should it be necessary, it's there. It's certainly not going to be in the way of anything. Okay, so it sits, 3/8 of an inch higher, prouder than it used to. I don't see as how that'll be a problem. So, all right. So I guess that's it. Like I said, this is all cleaned up. Time to go get the cylinder and stick it in there somehow. It's quite a big cylinder. In fact, what are the dimensions on that thing? It's 24-inch stroke. It's an odd. The bore is 5 3/4, which I thought was kind of odd. Again, I don't know if they do that just to make it, germane to this, to have a captive thing on there, or if there's actually reason for that. I mean, why not make it 6 or 5? It's more of a standard. But hey, whatever. Again, I'm running on again. Okay, so let me go get the cylinder and try to hoist it in there. Bring you back. Well, whew, got my ass kicked on that. Holy shit. Man, I could not get this cylinder back in there. I could get one side in or the other side in. Holy crap. As you can see, we're almost under the lights again. I mean, I've been messing with this thing for an hour and a half to get this thing back in, but I win. I finally got it. So that's it. Everything's in. New, obviously, as I said, new pins, and you can see how they sit. Let me zoom in a little. They sit, like I say, they sit a little bit, about 3/8 inch above. And again, I did put the center just in case someone has to go through this again, namely me. It might give you a little edge, either to drill that or to, do what I did, the last time with, whatever you want to do. It might give you a little edge. So that's that. Again, new bolts, new pins, cylinders in. Again, all the welding for the patching is done. Everything's done. I think that's actually going to wrap this thing up, once I pick it up, I'll put the 2 lines back on. They have the cylinder for the locking mechanism, so that's they're all set with that, I assume. And I think that's, like I say, I think that's going to be it. So this is done. Thank goodness. This is kind of a wrestling match. This thing, part of it is, the cylinder's heavy, so, to hump it by hand is no party. And then, everything has to be done with the forklift. You can't move the bucket around without the and that's another thing. When you pick this thing up with the forklift, now I think my forklift, I'm pretty sure I think it's rated at 5,000 or 4,700, something like that. But when you pick this thing up, if you don't have it smack against the carriage, it actually starts to lift. You can feel the lift in the ass end. So this thing is heavy. So yeah, it was kind of a bit of a wrestling match there. So I'm like I say, guess I'm kind of glad to get this all done. So that's it. I'll fold this thing back in, and I've just been putting a piece of pipe through here just to hold it, you know, just to hold it, because like I said, there's no, the lock cylinder is missing. So I'll put a piece of pipe back in it, just drop a little pin through it or something just to hold it, and then it can be picked up and delivered back to the customer. So that's gonna wrap it up. So alrighty, until next time, as some famous guy once said, everybody polka.